Shooters Connection offers products for competition shooters by competition shooters. With over 80 years of combined competition shooting experience, Shooters Connection is staffed by master and grandmaster shooters who live the shooting sports every day. We offer same-day shipping. Shooters Connection also sponsors over 100 of your matches every single year. So when it comes to finding everything you need to compete as a beginner or a seasoned grandmaster, Shooters Connection is the only name you need to know. Online at shootersconnectionstore.com.
Welcome to the Hit Factor. As you guys just heard, this is sponsored by Shooters Connection, so big shout out and thanks to them. On tap tonight, we got Jeff Cawthon, Mr. I guess you are back to GM because you are officially single stack shooter again now, right? Like, have you like officially made the switch in your mind?
I mean, I've said that. I haven't actually shot a single stack.
As long as you've like said that that's the case, then you can be a GM again. I feel like so that's good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm Jeff Cawthon, GM.
GM
That's
single stack shooter. I am also a GM single stack shooter because Nationals is single stack will be back in October again, I guess in Ohio. I'm not super jazzed about that.
Yeah, I've never been to Ohio.
I'm pretty sure I've like set foot in that state, but I don't know that I'm trying to remember. I've driven through a lot of states, but
yeah, I've probably driven through it.
The range as currently constructed, from what I've heard, I've not been there. What I've heard is would not make for a great Nationals. Supposedly they are going to be upgrading that range to be more suitable. So I really hope that's the case. I will say Oklahoma City is on the way. If I was to drive to Ohio for Nationals, it's right at like about an 18-hour drive. So for Jeff, that would put him right at like a 14-hour drive. So it's, it's right in that, for me, that breakover range where like flying and driving is possible. Like 18 hours, you can still do that in a day and be fine.
Jesus.
Jeff,
that's a long way.
Jeff's like sitting there thinking he's dying. Like Jeff would do it because he would just sit there and sleep for half the time. And
yeah, I could ride. I mean, as long as you got someone to conversate with, that's not that bad. It's really not.
So, but when the thought was that you would be possibly riding with me for 14 hours, it sounded terrible.
Oh, I could do it. I'll let you pick me up.
I'll let you. You will grace me with your presence. So yeah, I don't know if I'll shoot Nationals next year or not. We'll see. It's kind of this would be the first year that I would not shoot any National of any kind if I didn't shoot it next year. We will next year also be on a new World Shoot cycle. And so there will be a new selection process for World Shoot teams. And so just depending on if they set it up, that's up to as far as I know, that'll be up to the president unless he delegates to somebody else. That'll be up to the president to determine how the World Shoot selection process is made. If they do it like it is in the past, then Nationals will be one of those qualifier matches, and IPSC Nationals would be one of the qualifier matches. So we'll see. We should find out after or during this current World Shoot, which is going to be in late November, where that's when they will decide at the General Assembly. They will decide where the next World Shoot is going to be. So that'll be very interesting to find out. If it's somewhere cool, I will probably try to get a slot. If it's not, then if it's somewhere like Thailand again, I don't think I'll worry about trying to get a slot to it.
Where would somewhere like Thailand that's not Thailand be?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, like there are places in South America that I think would be awesome. There might be some places in South America that might be less awesome. Like there could be places, like maybe places in Europe that be more awesome than other places. Um, so I don't even like at this point. They probably have it already down to three people. There's three people that they have narrowed it down to who have submitted applications or proposals for it. But I don't know who those three will be. So
Gotcha.
I don't know. It could be kind of interesting.
Okay.
Um, so we'll see. Currently, the Pan American Championship is going on, which has kind of gone like under the radar. Really, like basically, it looks like the people who are wanting to really compete at the World Shoot are the guys who are there. And that's not to say that there aren't other Americans there competing, but that seems to be a big one. There's a lot of international shooters there. The Pan American is a huge match. Like that is a big match. It's really just kind of gone under the radar this year, and I don't know if that's because I think last year's match I think got canceled because of COVID type deal. It might have they might have still had it, but maybe it was just like hardly anybody there. It is at Universal Shooting Academy. It's at Frank's place, which means nobody will. The only person that gets the benefit of anything at Frank's place is Frank. And the videos I've seen, it looks absolutely miserable there because it's in the middle of Florida. There is a big hurricane in the Gulf, which affects Jeff and I a little bit. There's a big hurricane in the Gulf, and I assume that the rains that they're getting there are related to that, but maybe they're just something separate. But massive amounts of rains. People are running around like just mud and water, like inches of water that are just sitting on the range and bays. And I can't imagine trying to shoot classic at it because you'd just lose mags. And then if you didn't lose them, they'd be like rusting up almost immediately. If you didn't, you completely disassemble every single one and try to dry them all out. I was not missing being there after seeing those videos for sure.
That doesn't sound very nice.
But that's Florida. It can be like that. So there was an interesting, like there's lots of kind of weird starts. It looks like there's lots of it. Like it almost looks like a gimmick match, which is not. Like IPSC has a more stuff like that than we do. But there's several. Like I think I saw one like where like guys had like a football in their hand to start, and one they started with a baseball bat in their hand, and then there's some weird deal where you're holding on to this thing on a zip line, and then that activates like these big, huge, massive doors that fall down so that you can access the rest of the course. So I mean, like it kind of the stages look kind of interesting. But there's one particular stage which I don't know the rest of the stage. But the start position, best I can tell based on videos, is they have this big plastic tub of water, and your hands have to start in that tub of water. Like that is the start position. So like this is not the first time I've heard of this. This is not the first time this has been done. I've seen it. I've heard of it being used, like actually ice water before, which even more interest. I don't know if interesting is the right word, but
right. What if you had like an RO that was really slow to start you or something?
I don't know.
You got ice.
Literally get ice. Yeah, I don't know. So what do you think about the start position in water, which basically means that you're going to be shooting with wet hands, right? No pro grip, no grip enhancer is going to last through that. So you're starting with just wet hands, and you have to deal with it for that stage.
I mean, pro grip, it sheds water pretty good.
I mean, like depends on how fast they started you. Like if you put it on,
Yeah.
like I think if you wanted to game it, like I think there's a chance that you could put the pro grip on right before, like put your like tightly clench your hands in a fist, and then put that in the water, and the
Oh, yeah.
inside of your hands would probably not get nearly as wet. Like
Yeah.
but pro grip also, like if pro grip does get wet, like it can get kind of slimy. It's like there is a little bit of that.
Hmm.
I have not experimented with putting pro grip on and then putting my hands in a tub of water. That's not something
Right.
I've experimented with. Um, but so what do you think about that start position, Jeff?
I mean, so like my initial reaction is I don't like it.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. I guess I can't really come up with a great reason why I don't like it. I mean, it would really suck for someone who doesn't use like a some sort of water shedding grip enhancer, because I know a lot of them have like a
yeah,
waterproofing aspect
yeah.
to
Pro
them,
grip definitely
right?
does.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just use
Yeah,
powder. So, and when it gets wet, it gets really
yeah,
slimy. So, I mean, obviously, I just wouldn't put any on in a situation like that. But, um, yeah, I don't know, that would change some things, and I don't know. It seems a bit dangerous because with some grip enhancers that, and even like the residue that would be on some people's guns,
hmm
it could make them very
yeah,
slimy.
yeah. Because if you do use like a
Um,
chalk or anything like that, like your grip is covered in that, and like there's not a great. I mean, I guess you could maybe try and wipe it off, but if you some of these grips, like that stuff's
yeah,
down in the grooves and any sort of texture that you have, like it's down inside all that. So unless you got like brake cleaner or something to hose it all off,
yeah. Well, I'd probably use some like that, like alcohol, the hand cleanser stuff.
yeah,
Probably wipe down everything with that.
yeah,
Try to try to get it off. Yeah, that would be my strategy for sure. It would be like try to get everything off, try to get it down to bare, so it's just literally just water and the surfaces, and nothing that could get slimy, I
yeah.
guess.
You think you'd take the
Um,
time to dry your hands off, or just grab the gun and go wet?
um, I would just grab and go. I mean, my guns have fairly aggressive grips. That's how I like to shoot, especially if it was my 1911. Like that really wouldn't be a
Yeah,
problem with the those sharkskin Kensai grips.
with your strong hand, your
Yeah,
weak
it
hand
wouldn't
wouldn't have
be.
any grip.
I mean, yeah, it wouldn't have any grip on my fingers
Right.
so much.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not going to be as good as like a normal
yeah,
grip, right? But I can think of situations where it could be dangerous, but hopefully people think of those. I think it's a little gimmicky. I still don't really like it, but I don't really like have a major thing that I dislike about it, honestly.
yeah.
So I don't. I'm indifferent. I'm indifferent, honestly. Are you surprised?
Nobody's surprised by that. Uh, I was surprised you came out even as strong as you did, just to start with, to even say that you didn't like it. Um,
Yeah. Well, I'm a boomer at heart,
yeah,
so change. If it's change, I gotta say I don't like
yeah.
it.
I hate it. I don't. I don't want to see that. Like I think it's. I think that's just. I think it's just dumb. Like I just don't. It's just dumb. Like there were guys in the Discord that were talking about it, and there were a lot of them were in favor of it. Like, well, it's practical because like there's times where you're not going to be able to all these times like where you're getting your hands right and you're not going to have
Mhm.
a chance to put pro grip and get your grip all just perfect, like where you got to be able to shoot a gun. And it's like, yeah, but we're not IDPA. We're not trying to create these scenarios like, oh, you were in the shower and three bad guys walked in and they started kicking your dog, and so then you had to get out just wet, naked, and just go to town and start shooting them suckers. Make sure you put 3 in each one, or in tactical priority, or whatever you got to do in IDP. Like I don't care to see USPSA go that far down the practical road that we're creating scenarios such as that. Like like if we're gonna say that we're practical and we've got a division that says it's carry optics and we're allowing these massive thumb rests on them that are like
Oh yeah.
3 inches tall,
God.
like I think we're practical. I think we need to understand the practical part of USPSA, and the practical part of it is not tactics. It's not tactical. The practical part of it,
Right. It's not the
yeah, the
scenarios.
practical part of USPSA is the DVC. It is the speed, power, and accuracy. That is what's practical, and that's what needs to be tested. Um, and
It's fair.
and so like I don't know. Like I think you're like I also have a little bit of an issue with it. Like I mean, there's lots of guys with expensive guns that are maybe blued or something like that, and like you're just asking them to take it and just hold on to that. I mean, just take if you say you had a nice 1911. Mine that I shoot with aren't necessarily all that nice, and they're Cerakoted, so they're pretty safe against water. But then like also I've got to grip and grab that gun and just get water all over it. It's going to get under the grip panels and all that. Like it becomes a little bit more of a maintenance issue.
Yeah.
Um,
Was this an unloaded start?
I don't I don't think it was unloaded. Um,
Hmm.
but I don't know. But I don't think so. Um, now, with all that being said, uh, there is this sense like USPSA here lately with their stage briefings, basically with wrist below belt, and like we're getting these start positions, and like we're basically people are basically just starting with their hands like an inch from their grip, right? And
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
I would like to see USPSA move a little bit more back to um, hands relaxed at sides, which I know is like that's arbitrary. So like I kind of liked when they
Hmm.
went away from that at first because hands relaxed at sides is arbitrary and depends on the RO that you have. But there is a little bit more of a sense that hey, like you're just, and I don't know why it bugs me that to start like with just your hand basically hovering over the gun. I don't know. Maybe I'm a boomer. Like maybe
Right.
that's just because I'm a boomer. I just I don't like that. Like I don't know. I cannot actually verbalize why I don't like that. I mean that puts Jeff at a shock that I'm at a loss for words on that, but I just don't like it.
Well, it's gaming,
Yeah,
right? And um, I think you don't like the idea of people gaming to that extent. That's what I think you don't like about it.
yeah, a little bit.
Like it's kind of like petty gaming,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. That's probably
Right.
fair. Like
It's
that's better. Like you put it better than I could have. So yeah, I think that's fair.
yeah.
Um,
It is what it is though. I mean, you're you're going to have that. I mean, you see that in every other sport. So
yeah.
somebody's going to be a petty
Oh
gamer.
yeah, for sure. And that's I mean like that's okay. It just annoys me. I just don't like
Yeah.
it. Call me a
Yeah.
boomer.
I'm
That's
not
okay. Maybe I'm
surprised.
turning into a BOC. I don't know.
Right? We might have to change the name of this
We
podcast
might
again.
have to. We might have to. What
Just
else? Oh,
just the
uh,
BOCs.
the next power rankings will come out after this Pan Am match. So even though it hasn't been long since my last power rankings, but we've had Carry Optics Nationals, which had like I think 8 out of the 10 guys were there. No, 7 because Shane didn't shoot it either. we're shooting that match, and then Pan Am like is a big match, and most of the people that are in it are shooting that match. So I'll probably have a power rankings coming out now after this match, and spoiler alert, Nils will be at the top of that. There's
Why you gotta spoil it, man?
I can spoil that position. I haven't done all of it, but Nils will be back at the top.
Gotcha.
So yeah, what you got? You got a new bottle of whiskey, Jeff?
Yeah, I got the Russell 10
Yeah.
year. Yeah, I just went to my liquor store that's like right across from where I work. That's where I normally go. And they had that in there. And I actually went there to get another bottle of Early
Yeah.
Times, but they didn't have any. And I saw that. And I was like, I've heard people talk about that. I'll give it a go.
You like it?
So I did. Yeah, it's good. You know, my first sip of it was very underwhelmed.
Mm.
I was like, and then as I've gotten sipped it a bit more, it's gotten more interesting.
I mean, it is a 90 proofer, so like the proof is low on it, so
Yeah.
that can definitely lead to that sense. But yeah, Russell's 10 is I mean, for a 90 proofer, like it's one of the better ones out there that you can go and buy most places. Most places will have it. So that's really good.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is the first time I've seen it here.
Oh, really?
So, and then I talked to the guy that was running the store, and he said they were going to be trying to get some more interesting things and switching it up from what they normally carry.
Cool.
So, I'll be interested to see what they get.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
exciting.
that's awesome. I got a new bottle recently. It's called Blackened by Willet. Willet is not a most of their stuff. I don't necessarily go after.
Do you have the bottle?
I don't have it with me. I should have brought it so that I could show it, but it says like blackened on it, and the label's pretty dark and black.
I think they had that bottle at my store.
So they
today.
have like the blackened line has there's several different iterations of it, expressions of it. Like there's some that are
okay.
ryes. The rye will be green actually, but it'll still say blackened.
Mm-hmm.
There's ryes,
Yeah.
and there's a lot that are in that 90 proof range. Whereas this one is a cask strength version, so it's 117 proof. The other ones are 90. And this is a Texas edition. So like that, I haven't done all the research on it, but they set aside a few specific barrels that just went to distributors in Texas. So like anytime you're going to give me a Texas edition, it's like, yeah, I kind of want that. But
I was wondering that if like Texas people really got off on the like Texas edition shit.
Yeah. Texas is like the greatest state of the union. Like Texas is like America's cool, but Texas is probably cooler.
Right. So if I have some like bullshit product that I can't sell as long as I make a Texas edition, I'll
probably almost guaranteed.
Okay.
But
good
the blackened on these, so it's a mix of a few different whiskeys, but then they take it and they finish it in blackened brandy barrels. So they take brandy barrels, and it's like a lot of times when you finish in like a brandy or a sherry cask, like you just put it straight in that cask after the brandy or sherry's been dropped out. But what they're doing on this blackened edition is they're going in and they're charring the inside of these brandy barrels like they do oak barrels just to make bourbon from the start. And they're like, I've had a cask strength rye that Bob has, and it's really good. And this one was one that I like our store had. It was actually kind of behind another bottle. And it was like $63 out the door. I was after taxes and everything. It was like $63, and it's really good. Like it's just a really good bottle. So yeah, if you see one, if you see like a blackened by Willet, and it's especially if it's a cask strength, there's a good chance that it'd probably be worth picking up.
Right. I'll have to look back. Yeah. Also, while we were in Grand Island, Area 3. I got me a Glencairn.
Oh yeah, he does
I
have
don't
his
think I.
Glencairn. You got to learn how to
Yeah, I don't
swirl
think
it
I.
around like this. So that introduces.
Is it difficult? Is it
Well,
difficult
it
to
depends on
swirl?
how hard you want to swirl, and that introduces air into it. So the reason why Smoothie Runner, the Glencairn is shaped like it is because like it's got a big bulb at the bottom. It's like an upside down light bulb for our audio listeners, and then it comes small at the top because that gives you can nose it, you can smell it better because it
Hmm.
focuses everything uh, to a smaller spot versus like a rocks glass is just huge and you really can't get a good
Yeah.
sense of the smell on a rocks
Right.
glass. It's a lot harder.
You just focus all those fumes
Yeah.
directly into your
And if you
nostril.
got like a massively deviated septum like Jeff and he can't smell anything, you
Mm.
need it funneled in there like a daggum jet propeller.
Yeah. What's crazy is I have like a massively deviated septum, so I can't get much air through my nose. But I also have a massive nose, so it kind of offsets itself.
that's that's kind of true. That's kind of
Yeah.
true.
Hey, the big man was watching out
Yeah.
for me. He's like, your nose is fucked, but we'll make it big. That'll help.
Oh man, that's great. So Jeff, I have bad news for you. I don't know if you've been paying attention to worldwide current events currently.
I mean, I have in some aspect. I don't. Which part of the world are you going to talk about?
Puerto Rico just got devastated by a hurricane.
Oh, I saw something. Yeah, I saw something about that.
Like
Yeah.
Biden declared a state of emergency down there. Like the entire island is without electricity currently. And
Hmm.
the video of like the
Yeah.
the storm surge and like the water and stuff is just like wiping out bridges and it doesn't look good. Which I mean, we're sitting here and my wife was like super bummed because it's like the Caribbean Open is 4 months away, and
Hmm.
I don't see how having like Katie's family is down on the coast, like where Katrina and I can't remember, but like it's like every other year they get hammered with the hurricane. Like and
Yeah.
like seeing how long like that takes for them to recover. Like I just can't imagine that Puerto Rico can really get recovered by February. And
I,
I mean, like my wife is super bummed because she was really looking forward to going to that match and having a vacation uh, without the kids and on a beach, like having a
right.
match in a cool place for once. Um,
Yeah.
and so we are super bummed about that. At the same time, like that does seem very trivial that we're bummed about that because the people living there are like they're in danger, right? Like they're in
Yeah.
bad shape
Yeah.
right now. And I haven't. It's not like I've been like getting updates on it all day. I just saw the one update on it, but I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think for us, I don't think that we're gonna even at this point trying to schedule and plan for a trip there in 4 months. Like I think we're gonna be out. I think if you were just going just to shoot the match, because the match may still be get put on, the match may still be a go, and so if you were just going down there just to shoot the match, I think there's maybe a good chance that could still happen. I have no idea, um, but there was a little bit more of a vacation planned alongside that, and I don't know that all of that other stuff is
Right.
gonna be
Yeah.
doable. So
Well,
probably no Caribbean Open for us this year.
bummer.
Yeah,
Bummer for us, and bigger bummer for the people that live
yeah,
there.
for sure. Um, Leif is putting on a low cap irons match in Kentucky that looks interesting. It's in April, so like single stack production.
Okay. Isn't it cold in Kentucky in April?
I don't know. I don't like. I'm not sure. I don't think Leif would put it at a time where he would expect it to be miserable. Um,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I wouldn't think it's going to be any different than we shot. Ozarks was that was in March. Like I would think fairly similar to that.
That was
But it
cold.
was well. It was partially cold, but it's like a month after when that was. So I think it'll be all
Yeah,
right by
yeah.
April. Um,
Okay, so it's like, is it an outlaw match or is it a USPSA match?
it's
Or...
a USPSA match. It's a level 2. I believe he said it's
Okay,
10 stages, but that match is staff reset, which sounds
okay.
kind of baller.
Now, didn't they used to do like Battle in the Bluegrass? It was production single stack, wasn't it? That was in Kentucky.
That one could have been a single stack production only. I never shot it.
Yeah, I think it was.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, I never shot it either. But
yeah, I don't know. But so, and then he's got the Kentucky State match is there later in the year. I think in like June or July or something like that. So I'll probably at least go to one of those matches.
yeah, yeah, I'd like to go. I mean, from what I've been hearing, Leif puts on some great
Yeah.
matches. So, and I have yet to shoot one.
Yeah, I haven't shot a match he's put on, so I will go with extremely high expectations. And
Mm-hmm.
if he doesn't exceed those, he'll hear about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure,
He needs
for sure.
to know. But yeah. All right, we got any questions?
We do have some questions. Um, Before we hit questions, let's give a shout out to our show sponsor today, Shooters Connection. So thank you, Shooters Connection, for sponsoring today's show. If you guys haven't heard of Shooters Connection, they sponsor a ton of matches for the sport. They've been in the sport a very long time. The people running Shooters Connection are competitive shooters. They're doing same day shipping. I realized in the last episode I said it was next day shipping, and then I reinformed myself. They're doing same day shipping. I'm sure if you order within the proper amount of time, you get same day shipping from them. So that's amazing. But they sponsor over 100 matches a year for USPSA, uh, and they have a ton of stuff. Anything you need for competitive shooting, go to Shooters Connection. We'll have a link in the description that you can use to support the podcast and let Shooters Connection know that their sponsorship of the show is worthwhile. So thank you.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I got some questions. We'll pull up some questions here. Why don't you shill your hat?
Oh yeah, so we do have the Hit Factor hats. If you're on video, you can see mine. You can see Jeff's
Not
too.
this one.
Jeff's is the OG that is unavailable. You cannot get that hat anymore.
Yep,
And then
these are gone. Single
yep,
release.
then we've got the one I've got on, which is a gray hat. The Hit Factor logo's like a black outline. So it's pretty cool. This again will be another single release. Once these are gone, they're gone. Um, the challenge with it is shipping is expensive on these things, and so like if it's just a single user, like it's gonna end up being like a little over $40, I think, to be able to ship it. So like if you know other people near you that are listeners, then I'm happy to bundle multiple ones. Or if you know several of you are going to the same match, like if like this limited nationals that are coming up, I'm happy to ship it to like a single person, and then they can give it to the people that'll be there as well to save on shipping that way. Um, and then in the future, next year when I'm at matches, at some other matches, I'm happy to bring them and deliver them at matches. I just don't have any more matches that I'm going to this year. So if you want them, hit us up, send us a message. We can take PayPal, or I guess a check too, but PayPal is probably the easiest, and we can get you a hat. So,
Yeah, I can also send a Stripe invoice.
oh yeah, I don't really even know what Stripe is, but Jeff can do that.
Yeah.
If it has money and money collection in it, Jeff's on it.
Hmm. I like
He
money.
does.
All right, are you ready to field
Let's
some
hit it.
questions? There you go. I want to start with some easy ones. Here's an easy one. Do y'all use factory ammo or reloads at majors?
I like my guns have seen like less than 50 rounds of factory ammo. Like all of them, like combined, have probably seen less than 50 rounds of factory ammo. Um, I will say, if you are shooting like minor, like currently, uh, then and you've got like a factory load that you like, and you can get enough of it, like to shoot your major matches for the year, and it's like you like it, and it safely makes power factor and all that, then if I was shooting minor, I would very hardly consider that didn't sound right. I would very much consider shooting factory ammo for matches if I was shooting minor and I had a load that I really liked. Like I know Ben shot like American Eagle for a long time at a lot of major matches. If you found something like that
Yeah.
you like, then the way component prices are now, then that really makes a lot of sense nowadays to do something like that.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think I've ever shot factory ammo at a major. I think I've shot it at club matches maybe when I was shooting minor single stack.
Mm-hmm.
I've never shot 40 factory
Yeah.
40. I don't think I've ever bought factory 40. And mechanic has only ever shot reloads in matches. Okay, here you go, Jeremy. This one's for you specifically. Jeremy, does bullet weight / bullet velocity / barrel twist rate matter when you are testing the accuracy of your 1911s?
I mean, barrel twist weight. I'm gonna say like for a pistol, like no, like we're not. I don't think the barrel twist rate's gonna make a huge difference for us. And I'll be honest, like I haven't done a lot of testing on that, like so I'm not gonna like speak with absolute authority on that. But I don't think twist rate's something you need to worry about. I think I would stay away from the gain twist barrels, which basically they start with a slower twist and it gets faster. The twist rate gets faster as it gets. I think I would stay away from those. But I mean, for sure, like the bullet weight and all of that, as far as like with your springs, like I mean, when you start talking about accuracy, it's not necessarily that much different from a rifle in that like one gun may really like a light bullet going fast, and one gun might like a big heavy bullet that's going slow. Like that you can definitely see that exhibited in pistols. Um, with that being said, like we're not shooting bullseyes. Like we're not trying to eke out like the every tenth and quarter of an inch out of our pistols. So for
Yeah.
practical use in our sport, I think you're better off tailoring your ammo to how you like the gun to recoil than trying to get an accuracy, because if it's consistent quality ammo, then it should work, whether it's if you're 40 165 grain bullet or a 200 grain bullet. You should get good enough accuracy out of it either way.
Yeah. Hey, while we're kind of on the 1911 topics, you want to like field a legit 1911 question?
Yeah.
Okay, so I work with this dude, really old dude. He has a 1911. He bought this 1911. He had some gunsmith fairly locally, that runs like some sort of little gunsmith school. I don't know much about it. Do some work on this
Okay.
1911. It's a Taurus Commander, like
Is this the one
1911.
that was like it's like a
Okay.
half Taurus, half Wilson?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's not really Taurus Wilson, okay? Like, he had the guy put some Wilson parts
Okay.
in it to clarify what Jeremy
Okay.
just said. Okay, anyway, I've got it right here. The trigger on it is interesting or terrible. I don't know what you want to call it, but it has like 0 pre-travel.
Oh, geez.
They took it all, like it's
Yeah.
gone. I wasn't able to get it to fail, but I mean, it's nothing.
Right.
That's it. And then it has like a really like long sear face. Like, it takes forever to break, and it's real mushy. Yeah. So it's just like mushes in, and then there's no what do you call it?
There's no
Post-travel.
over travel. There's no pre-travel or over travel.
Yeah, there's no extra travel. It's all right there. Anyway, I expressed to him that I didn't like the trigger, but I didn't really know what to say as far as like is that gonna fail sooner, or
Well, it's
would it not last
it's not
as long?
safe. Like
Yeah.
like that trigger needs to have room to move before it's in contact with the sear, because right now the trigger is resting on the sear, like automatically, right? Which means
it's right there.
that if it's doing that, then it's already putting pressure on the sear. So then, if that hammer was to slip off that sear, like not only is there a good chance it'll slip off because any sort of bump on that trigger can slip it off, but then it also, like, it's going to fire. Like, the half cock notch is not going to catch it because it's already pushing. There's already pressure putting that past the half cock notch. So like
Gotcha.
that's a no-go. And then as far as like having 0 over travel, you also have to create room for whenever that sear releases. It has to release far enough past the half cock notch that the half cock notch isn't hitting the sear nose. And that can cause a couple of different things. One, like, it may still fire because it may get past it, but it can really damage the sear nose. So it can just beat and batter it depending on how the half cock notch is set up. But it can also cause it to just hang up on the half cock, and then it might not fire. So there's you need room. Like, there needs to be some amount of room in there for that trigger to move freely without it contacting anything.
Right.
So yeah, that is not
Anyway,
that was not set up by somebody who understands the 1911. Other than that, Taurus is a great looking gun.
I think this is actually a pretty solid little pistol if it were like set up better, obviously. Like, it has some front strap texture, has some mainspring texture. I mean, it looks better than my Rock Island.
Well, I mean, the bar, as far as aesthetics, the bar is fairly low there.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. But I actually thought it was kind of a cool little pistol.
I mean, aesthetically, Commander Link 1911s look awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So why do you have it now? Like,
he wanted me to go shoot it, see if it would group.
Oh, will it group?
Do you ever have people do that? Do you have people do that?
No.
I have people do that too all the time,
Really?
dude. They're like, I just don't know if this gun's any accurate. Will you take it and go shoot it and see if it'll group? Like, okay. Yeah.
I don't. No, I don't have that. I guess people know that I can't shoot. Like, I'm not very accurate, so they don't worry about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
They don't know that. They know that you're slow and steady and you hit stuff. They know that I'm just slow and erratic.
No, these aren't people that would know the difference between your shooting and my shooting.
All right, what else we got?
Anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting, so I thought I'd ask you about it while you were on here.
All right, one more question.
Okay, here we go. When you're forced to take a long break from shooting, say 3 months or so, how do you focus your training when you get back to prepare for a large match? I figure low cap nats would be a great example. I'm forced to take this summer off due to work, and my next match back will be Utah State. Match has probably already happened. This is like 4 months
Is
ago.
that John Headland?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I know how I'm going to approach it, but I would love to hear what y'all's thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool. Hopefully, we'll hear from him. He's on the Discord, so hopefully, we'll hear from him. Like if his approach was different than ours. He like he was gone for 3 months, and like it was like a work thing. Like he couldn't even bring a gun to dry fire, type deal. And so
Yeah,
like he was like, I trying to remember if he bought like just a blue gun just to like even like he shoots open, so you can't buy an open blue gun. They don't make those as far as I know. So like
yeah.
he was like just like a Glock blue gun, just something that he could dry fire with on some level. Uh, and
Hmm.
I don't know if he actually did that, but I think he was thinking about doing that. Um, I mean, for me, when I come back, it's really similar to me. Like if you've coming back to working out after you've like if you were kind of in shape and then you take a break for whatever reason, and then you come back and you want to try to get back working out again. I start just with really low expectations. I just start just stand and shoot. Um, maybe some accuracy stuff, some doubles type stuff. Just simple draws, like really no movement or anything like that to start with. Just and no, I try to have zero expectations. Like that first week, I'm just going out just to shoot. And I'm trying to pay attention to what I'm doing, but I'm not necessarily trying to read into what I'm doing. Um, and then from there, like to me, like this is kind of my philosophy on shooting and training anyway. At this point, our sport is still such that like there is athleticism involved. Like then your footwork needs to be good, and like all that, like your gun handling, all that stuff, like stuff does need to be good. But our sport is still such that like most often like the best shooter is the one that wins, like the guy who can just shoot the best. And so you have to have those skills before you add anything else if you really want to compete at a high level. And so then for me, like how I want to organize my training, especially early on, is like I want to figure out something that makes sure my shooting is good without any other distractions. Okay. And then I slowly just find ways to contextualize that shooting. So that might mean maybe you were just shooting without even a draw. So you add a draw in, and that contextualizes it a little bit to a stage. Maybe that means that you have a draw and a step before your first shot, and you contextualize that within a stage. And then maybe you're just slowly adding different things that contextualizes your shooting. If that does that make, I don't know if that makes sense or not. Um, it does in my mind. But you're slowly adding things that can distract you from your shooting, but then you're always trying to go back to your shooting and just can you stand there and shoot really well without anything going on. And then our sport is basically how many distractions can I throw at you and you still be able to maintain shooting well.
Yeah. Oh, that's really solid. It's really solid and much more methodical than what I
Are you
do.
shocked? Jeff's like, dang, that's thought out.
I would say for me, like starting off pretty much the same. Like I come back and I'm just gonna stand and shoot. Usually just something like doubles or even just like slow firing, shooting groups. Like I just want to get refamiliarized. Really, like what shocks me every year is what a good sight picture looks like. Because I have undoubtedly dry fired quite a bit before I ever live fire for the first time in the season. And when I get out there, I'm like, oh, yeah, that I need to put way more attention on that sight picture. So this doesn't apply to a lot of people because you're shooting dots, but if you're shooting irons, that's me. And usually it's difficult for me to move away from this stage because I never start shooting as well as I want to. Like I'm never shooting groups as tight as I want to. I'm never able to push doubles out as far as I want to, or I'm never able to score very well on the dot drill. Like I never get like to where I want to be, so I just have to go, okay, it's time to start adding stuff in. I can't stay here forever. So I mean that's kind of how I start every season, is like disappointed in myself. But that's the reality of it. Yeah, and then pretty much like Jeremy said, you start adding in little things. Usually I'll add like one step movements first thing, like a one step draw into a position, and then like a one step reload and that type of stuff. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much the gist of it. Dry fire is kind of the same deal. First part of dry fire will just be standing, drawing, indexing, trigger pulling, all that stuff, and then you just slowly progress, add things in. Then you get into like, once you get past the start, you get into like training philosophy and like, do I go back to those starting principles and just train those at any specific time during the year? Well, yeah, probably, but yeah, starting out, keep it real simple. Focus on what matters, like Jeremy said. You got to be able to shoot. It's whoever can shoot the best wins.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't talk about dry fire at all. Like whenever I'm first coming back, my focus in dry fire, it doesn't always, but what I want it to be is like I have to go through a couple of weeks of dry firing with just focusing on gripping the gun hard. To me, like that's one of the things that's like the hardest to make myself do. One, like your hands, if you don't pick up a gun, like it's just different how you grip a gun than almost anything else. Maybe these guys that like lift heavy weights all the time, like I'm sure they have superior grip strength from just like if you're squatting like big weights, like you got to be able to hold on to it. So like maybe those guys.
No,
Oh,
I don't think there's any carryover.
okay. I don't know. I don't squat heavy weights, so I don't worry about that. But
Well, I mean, yeah, because you're when you're like grabbing a barbell or something, it's like you're gripping as hard as you need
yeah,
to hold onto the bar, right? It's not like active gripping. Like I don't reach down there and squeeze the fucking bar as hard as I can,
true.
right?
Yeah,
Which is what you have to be doing in shooting. Like you have to actively be squeezing the whole
yeah.
time. So it's just I haven't found there to be a lot of
Okay.
carryover, honestly, other than just like being systemically stronger. That helps.
Right.
But
So like when I'm first coming back to dry fire, like the focus needs to be on how hard am I gripping the gun and am I maintaining that grip through the practice session and through the string as I contextualize it more and I do longer strings of dry fire and stuff like that. Um, Jeff brings up an interesting point in that he like feels like he gets stuck on those like really fundamental kind of measurement things. Um, I I definitely can relate to that. Like I definitely can go down like a rabbit hole where like I'm like I have to get this fixed before I can move on and do anything. Like I definitely understand like feeling like I have to get fixed. What I would recommend people do is things like a dot drill, things like doubles drills. Um, we do want to be somewhat results driven a little bit there. Like, yeah, you want to clean a dot drill. Yeah, you want your doubles to all be in a fist. We'd love them for all be in a fist size group shooting sub 15 splits, right? Like that's the goal. But to me, like I think those drills are much more. They, I think they're more beneficial when you use them as observation drills. Meaning that like you're watching, like you're not just ripping splits and then just like going and like, oh, did I make it or not? Like, no, you're ripping splits, and then you're watching, like, did the sight move predictably? Well, if it didn't, like, why not? Did you snatch the trigger, or did you are you using
Yeah.
too much strong
Mm-hmm.
hand or too much weak hand, or like figuring out and like making, okay, that the trigger went it in the sight ended up to the right of where my initial aiming point was. Okay, let me try gripping harder with my left hand and see if that does it better on the next time. Um, and so you're using it more as an observation tool to continually remind yourself of what you need to do correctly. And I really like those drills as intermediary, in that, like, maybe you start the practice session with that, and then you go shoot. We go contextualize it. We shoot a mini stage, or a movement drill or something like that, and you shoot it a couple times. Then you come back to those measurement drills to make sure you're observing in a controlled manner what is happening with your shooting, so that you can make sure in the places where it's contextualized that you're still doing the things that you need to do.
Yeah, I like it. Good answer. And I think because he has come back to shooting, he's
Yeah.
back shooting after being off for 3 months, and I think he came back really strong from what he had posted in the
Yeah, I think
Discord.
so. If I remember right, he's M class open shooter, and I think knocking on the door of GM. If he's not he might be a GM. So I'm not trying to. I can't always keep all that stuff straight. He might already be a GM, but I think he's M class, and like a guy that's like at the top of M class at majors and stuff like that, and knocking on the door of GM if he's not. And yeah, I think he came back and was right there. I think some people get afraid, especially if they haven't been in the sport for long, and that, like, a lot of people get in the sport and they just train year round for a couple of years, right? Because they're just eat up with it. Like, you can take 3 months off, and there will be a regression in your shooting a little bit, but there is a threshold that you come back to pretty quick. That like that it only deteriorates so much. Like, it's not like if you take 3 months off, even if you don't even touch a gun at all, you're not gonna be starting over. Like, you're not going from the ground up. Like, your body does know how to do the stuff that it used to do. It just needs a few reminders, um, to get back to it, and it usually won't take that long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. That was actually a
And
good question. Um, we are right at an hour, so we will cut it off for tonight. Unless you have anything else, Jeff.
just wanted to give some community members shout
Oh
out
yeah,
from Area 7, since we didn't ever talk about Area 7. That was during the time when, I was completely inactive on all platforms.
yeah. You were at your meth
But
house.
yeah, yeah, that. So Area 7, um, in carry optics, we had two guys in Discord that finished in top five. One of them being our very own Swedish Viking, Magnus Krone. Is that right? Krone?
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that right? All right. Well, it's Krone
Mm-hmm.
now. And Potato coming in fifth. Saul. So shout out to those
What is
fellas.
Potato's real name?
Great finish there. Saul.
Saul. I feel like he should
Yeah.
just like sign up and practice score as Potato.
Yeah. I mean, obviously.
That would help me a lot.
Obviously.
Potato did
Yeah.
win a stage at nationals, so I guess they had like it was kind of interesting. They had a fixed time stage, but it had movement. Like, it was like a stage, kind of like a normal stage, but it was fixed time.
Yeah.
Like, you only had like 4.5 seconds to like move around like a couple different positions and engage targets and stuff.
Okay.
And so then basically, if you cleaned it, you won, right? and so I think
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
think he shot all A's, and I think there were a couple. There were only like I think there were two other people who also shot all A's. So he tied, but his name was first, so it looks like he won it outright. It's kind of interesting. It's
Right.
kind of an interesting thought for a stage, making a part-time stage out of something that's a more typical stage than a stand and shoot. Um, there's kind of
Right.
that's kind of interesting way of doing it.
Yeah. So I believe that Potato for Hire is Saul Allen. I know Potato's first name is Saul. I just don't really know his last name. So um, they cranked it into the top five there at Area 7. And then we also had Jay. I didn't know he shot Area 7, but second place to Mason. So hell yeah to Jay. And Jay finished, did he finish seventh at Nationals?
I think it was seventh. It was 6 or 7, but I think it was seventh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a really
Which is
strong
also a
nationals.
kick-ass.
Yeah,
Yeah, kick-ass
yeah.
finish, dude.
Jay's pretty incredible
He is
for a goat farmer.
for a goat and blueberry farmer. Yeah,
It's them ice baths, man.
it's good because you could be, I guess.
Yeah.
Kidding. I think that's all I had. Obviously, if you would like to join the Discord, the link will be available. Jeremy tells us how much he runs all the time. He's basically a runner now. We established that in the
No,
Discord.
that's a negative.
Uh, while we were recording, it's been established that Jeremy is now a runner.
Oh, I did not even see that. That is, I do not
Yeah,
identify
so
as a runner. My mule deer hunt.
Jeremy's okay. Jeremy's running 10Ks willy nilly. You tell me if he's a runner.
No.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
run two
yeah.
10Ks just on myself in training. The first one was
Willy nilly. You're just like, meh, I'll go run a 10K.
because the first one happened like it was the Friday after Jeff and I had run the day after Area 3, and we ran like it was a little under 3 miles, and it was really slow. And I was like, I think
Yeah.
I could run a 10K because like it's always in my mind like can you do it? Like just could you go? Like are you in good enough shape that you could go run a 10K? I'm like, yeah, I think I could do that.
Yeah.
And so I went out and wasn't trying to set any sort of pace or anything like that, and ran it, and it was actually a decent pace. It was like 801 splits on my mile time average. And so then coming back from being gone, I've been doing more weight type stuff, more weighted. I wouldn't say weights, but more weighted stuff on legs, squats and lunges. Man, those lunges really, man, they weighted lunges are rough. Um, but then I kind of I wanted to see if I could do a 10K again, and I really wanted to be sub 8 minutes on that, and I set out for it. Problem was the wind was blowing like 16 or 17. My first 3.1, my first half of it
Mm.
was all straight into the wind and a little bit uphill. I mean, it's not a lot of uphill, but with wind, it doesn't take much for you to fill that uphill. And so the first mile I did
Yeah.
maintain like right at like 8:05 and pushed hard. And then after that, like it just got progressively like slower. Then it was like 8:25, and like I think the third mile was like 8:40 or something like that. And then I turned around, and then my last three coming back and went at the back, and it was like 8:05, 7:40, and like 7:25 was my last mile. So
Nice.
coming back, it was good. But
Nice.
like a lot of my friends, like here locally, are like they're all into running, and so they're talking
Hmm.
about it all the time. And so then I end up talking about it. But this is not me wanting to be a runner. This is me trying to be in good enough shape so I don't die in Idaho whenever I go mule deer hunting in a couple weeks. That's really what the motivation for this
Right.
is. And it
Gotcha.
like I'll be honest, like
Well, you seem to be doing
I'm
great.
actually like I'm struggling a little bit right now because I want to try to put on some weight like before I go in,
Yeah.
because like there's a good chance you're gonna lose weight, and I don't have a lot to lose. Like right now, like I'm pretty lean, um, and so like it's a struggle to like get strong and increase your conditioning at the same time and put on weight. Like I'm
Yeah.
struggling a little bit right now. I'm actually I've maintained the last few days, but I had been kind of actually losing some weight. Um, so I'm trying to eat everything that I can. I'm trying to,
Bro, you gotta eat more
dude. I'm
snacks.
trying.
Eat more
I got
snacks.
these protein bars from Target. So I'm putting those down. Like, I mean, a couple of them a
Dude,
day.
if you want to put on, I'm not talking muscle. If you want to put on weight, like so that you have some extra weight when you're in the mountains to lose, you need snacks. You don't need protein. You need
Well, that's like
snacks.
I'm trying. I mean, I could be wrong. Like, I might be wrong in this. Maybe I should just be eating potato chips all day. But like, I'm trying.
But protein is satiating. It will take your hunger away.
Like, I'm trying not to just like put on like trash weight. Like, I'm trying not to just like go out and eat Twizzlers, and I'm not trying not to eat like Jeff and put on weight that way. Uh,
It sounds like you don't know what your goal is. That's
I
what it
mean, maybe
sounds like
not. Like
here.
maybe I'm not understanding this well enough, and that's 100% fair. And like I won't even argue with you on that point. But it is what it is. We'll see. Like
If you want to put on survival weight, like you need an extra 10 pounds in case you don't have anything to eat in the mountains, you just need to cram some Twinkies and put on 10 pounds.
I don't think I could put on 10 pounds in 2.5 weeks to save my life.
You're weak.
Jeff's like, man, I could do that in a week, man.
Yeah. Speaking from experience, I'm sitting at like 195 right now. So
I'm at like 177, 178 at 6'2". And
yeah, I'm a bit more chunky.
yeah, I would like to I would really like to get like 183. Like that's kind of where I would like to be. But if not, that's fine. I'll bring extra food with me, and I'll just eat a lot of food while I'm up there. Hopefully, I'll shoot a deer and I'll eat that. Uh,
Yeah, there you
that's
go.
that's the hope.
There you go.
But
That would be awesome.
yeah,
Get a
yeah,
get some.
it'd be really cool. It'd be.
And you have to pack it all out,
Oh yeah,
right?
freaking a yeah. And my buddy just got an elk tag for the same unit for the same time, so there's a chance.
Yeah.
I may die on this trip just trying to pack out my buddy's elk if he shoots one. And he's sitting there telling me, I'm not picky. I'll shoot whatever elk walks in front of me. And I'm like, bull crap, we gonna be picky on this elk. Like, we ain't just gonna shoot some fork horn. I'm not packing out 400 pounds of some little fork horn. Like, you're gonna shoot a nice elk, or we're not shooting an elk. Like, that's just not how this is gonna work. Because
Are there rules against like?
he can shoot.
Are there rules on like?
Not in this unit. He can shoot any antlered elk.
But are there rules on like what you have to pack out? Like if you shoot it, like you have to take a certain amount of it,
Most
or anything like
of
that?
the time, like, I actually haven't looked because I haven't like I would never consider not packing out as much as like doing everything I can to get the whole animal out. But in most states, there is a massive penalty if you don't bring out. And they do it sometimes, like they do a percentage, but if you don't basically bring out all the meat, like there you can get in big trouble for that.
Really?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
so, and obviously, like, we will. I mean, ethically, I think you owe it to that animal to bring out every piece that you possibly can, get every usable piece off of it that you possibly can.
Right? Yeah.
At the same time, like, and sometimes you end up not shooting an animal because like it may present a shootable shot, but where it's at and where it may end up after you shoot it is not a place where you can recover the majority of that animal out of. And so you may end up having to make a a moral decision basically to not take an animal that you could because of where it's at. And so that may be, I mean, that may be a decision for us, like as far as like, yeah, we can go further in, but can we get an animal out from further in? And trying to make good decisions as far as that's concerned could be tough. But hopefully
Yeah.
a deer is easier. I mean, it won't be easy, but a deer is just a lot. A deer is for two guys. A deer is a lot more manageable weight, whereas an elk
Yeah.
an elk means multiple trips. Like you can't do that in one.
Really.
Two guys are not gonna move an entire elk in one trip. It's just not happening. So you want to go? A third guy would help that along a lot.
When is this?
We're leaving like the 9th or 10th of October.
Of October.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be a lot of fun, but
Lame.
probably not. I know. All right, you got anything else for these people?
Nope. I'm out. I'm toast. It's late. I need sleep. That's the other problem. I can't sleep right now, so that doesn't help with your gaining weight either.
No, that doesn't. Well, sometimes it does, but you got to eat the Twinkies.
Yes, you got it.
Usually, like not sleeping will increase your cortisol and make you want to like snack on unhealthy food. So that's where you're not getting the benefit of not sleeping.
I mean, maybe I can just increase my Oreo intake. Maybe not the Twinkies, but maybe my Oreo intake. I could increase that a bit.
Yeah, same difference. Yeah. All right, I'm done.
All right, thanks everybody. Y'all have a good one.
Stop recording, damn it.